Hey, it's Oxdale Luke here. In today's video, I'm testing out another CarPlay screen. This one's from Carpuride. It's a 9-inch screen with a dash cam on the back, which you can flip up and turn around. So, kind of an interesting product. I'm sure you've been looking at these screens. You're probably going to see Carpuride's name pop up all over the place. They've got loads of them on their website, and they're probably one of the more established CarPlay screen manufacturers that are out there. That being said, this does cost $230, so it's also one of the more expensive ones. And there are also a couple of issues at that price point as well, including some false advertisements on the box in terms of what features it says. I'll get to that in a second. As well as a couple of features I would like to see at this price point as well. But that all being said, let's have a look at the unit itself, what I think of it, and I'm going to give you an honest feedback of this unit. And full disclaimer, I have been sent this unit free of charge to review. I'm not being paid for the review, but I will leave some affiliate links in the description below if you want to check them out. Just going to start by showing you a simple boot up and how long it takes to actually get into wireless CarPlay. So I plugged this into the wall using a USB cable, and it's actually quite quick to connect. I've not had any issues so far with it not connecting. I'd say within about 20 seconds you're actually into Apple CarPlay itself. So you can see it's loading the Dashcam card as well in the background, and then CarPlay should start in a second. So as you can see, when the CarPlay interface, I don't need to go into this because it's a universal interface, it's going to be the same regardless, but it's nice and responsive, there's no dead pixels, so it's good, no issues whatsoever with that. Now typically with some of these screens you swipe down for more options, and it gives you stuff like turning the screen on and off and audio settings and that. This doesn't have that. Instead you've got the assistive touch button here, which doesn't really take up any extra space, and then you can have stuff like home screen, audio settings, brightness control, as well as dashcam functionality. To turn the screen on and off, there is a button, physical button on the top. Just tap that once, whoops, and that's going to turn the screen off, but it's still working in the background. Dashcam is still working. Just tap the screen for it to come back on. Really like that it's got that physical button there. That's super useful, I think. Now, if you hit Smart Screen, that takes us to the default interface that Carpuride have going. In the home screen of the unit itself, it's quite simple. There's pretty much 6 icons, 3 on this page and 3 on the next page here. Quite honestly, because there's only 6 icons, I would have liked to see them on one screen, just a little less swiping about, makes it a little bit easier to navigate. And on the first screen, we've got the DVR, which is your Dashcam, CarPlay and Android Auto. As well, on the second screen, we've got playback for the Dashcam, audio output options, which we've got speaker. We've got Bluetooth audio, FM transmission and auxiliary outputs, which uses a 3.5mm jack, which just goes straight into the side of the unit. I've been using auxiliary jack in my Volvo. It's been working absolutely fine. In this video here, I'm going to be showing you the Bluetooth connection. And then finally, we have the settings, where there is quite a decent amount of configuration you can apply to this unit, including stuff such as the driving position to say whether you've got a left or right-hand drive car for CarPlay, auto brightness, which I really like, and flick this on and then give it a limit of what is high and low, so it doesn't become too blinding at night time, which is also nice. As well as there's a few other stuff in here, like recording formats and such. One thing it does say it has is voice control, which if you turn this on, you're meant to be able to say like, turn screen off. However, it just doesn't work. So if I say turn off display, it's meant to be, hey, turn off display. It just doesn't work. I could not get this to work at all, so I've left that turned off. Not really a big deal, I don't think. And then if we go to playback, we also have stuff we can save. For example, if we save a particular file, we can be like, hey, there it is for later viewing. If you want to just use DVR view, you can just hit that. This shows you a live view of what's happening. Of course, I've just got a monitor behind here, so we can't see much, but there we go, there's the view. And quality seems pretty good as well. I'm very happy with that. Moving on to audio playback. It does say it's got Bluetooth audio, but the Bluetooth audio is actually outputting directly from the phone to whatever speaker you use or your car radio. So this is not throughputting to the car radio. This is like the phone splitting the signal. So audio gets sent to the speaker and video gets sent directly to this unit. I actually think this is a better way of using it because there's less degradation. This is passing through less and less different devices. So if I had to use something like the buttons on here, it still works absolutely fine. I can skip tracks. So basically what this means is your steering wheel controls are going to work if you go through Bluetooth audio. So that's my recommendation for actually using audio with this thing. Let's talk about the physical dimensions of this and how it relates to taking up space in the car. This is a big screen. It's 9.5 inches diagonally, and it's also got the camera module which can extend out to the back of the unit and take up more space again. And this also does rotate around as well if you want to see behind you. However, once the camera module is extended, it is taking up a lot of vertical space. So if I take my other CarPlay screen and I kind of stick it like right at the bottom of this one, we can see that it does take up twice the amount of space almost. And what that means is when you're driving, is that this is starting to protrude past the top of the dashboard and it's in your vision. It's taking up part of the windscreen. And whilst that is necessary for the camera to be able to see the road ahead, it does mean it's a bit more distracting than this one, which can kind of just blend into the top of the dashboard easier. You do get two mounting methods with this as well. The first mount is this stick-on type that I've been using with this screen actually, and they do use the same mounting type at the back. And this is about the right height for this car because it's nice and secure and it's not too high, not too low. With this one, you do also get a physical suction mount. And it's a really nice mount. It's strong, it's got lots of adjustments on it. But I'm mindful with the size of the screen that if you stick this any higher, it's going to take up too much of your view of the roads, which might not be safe. You stick on your lower, the camera's not going to be able to see what's ahead of you. So you should also bear that in mind when you're thinking about how to mount this to your car. Right, let's move on to some dashcam footage. Now, these are quite dull conditions, there's not much light out, but in daytime scenarios, the footage is completely usable. For example, here's a near miss that happened on a roundabout near mine, and if this was going to be a collision, at least would have been quite useful in proving what would have happened. And the same can be said during this motorway drive, and we can make out the number plates of the cars passing us on the other side, as well as the road markings and my position on the road. So if an accident was to occur, this would be completely useful footage in those scenarios. However, when you move on to nighttime conditions, that's when it starts to fall apart. Now, the overhead street signs you can make out, but the cars to the left, you can't see the number plates, and they do have this weird bumping effect going on, which looks like some type of digital stabilization. So it's not that usable. Maybe in a pinch, you could get some information from it. And then moving on to completely dark scenarios, with just my headlights and no road lighting, we can see that the quality dips even more. There's lots of noise on the picture, and as a car passes us now on the right, we can just about make the model out at first. We can't see the number plate, so potentially if a car was to sideswipe us or something and get off, we wouldn't actually be able to see what car that was or prove who did it. But maybe if there's a collision and the cars came to a stop, it might be useful footage just in those type of situations. Okay, just having a look at what comes in the box. Firstly, we've got the mounts that sticks to the dashboard of the car. So you've got a sticky pad that comes with it, stick it on, these are nice and secure. This is the exact same mounting method, by the way, that my other CarPlay screen uses. So it looks like a lot of these plastics must come from the same factory anyway. And that goes on there, and it's quite adjustable. You can loosen it off, you can move this about, so you can get different angles with the mounts, which is really cool to see. And then with that, we've also got a nice high quality suction mount, which I really like this because it's got lots of adjustability. And the suction cup is big, it's strong, it's just a good mount, well built, even though it's plastic, but it's good, I like this. And then you've also got the sticky pads that can go onto the dashboard, so you can also stick the suction mount to that as well. So nice mounting options to come with it. On top of that, we've got 3.5mm auxiliary cable, which is right angled. Really cool to see that's included. And then finally, we've got a USB charging cable. So it's got Type A pass-through for charging your mobile phone, and then it's also got Type C for charging, well, powering this device up. Moving on to the sides of the device, we have a 3.5mm output for audio, as well as a 64GB SD card that's included, as well as the port there for it. AV input, which is for a reversing camera, as well as a Type-C port, which is used for powering the device on and off. Well, you will notice there is no Type-A port on this, which also means we don't have any wired CarPlay, which is a bit of a pain, because sometimes it's nice to just hot-swap a device without having to pair it directly to the screen. I know this may not be an issue for everyone, but I would really like to see Type A as well. Wired CarPlay, I think, is still a must, especially because it also allows you to charge your phone directly from the device instead, which is nice to have. Finally, moving on to the box. Now, there's a couple of things on here I think are a bit misleading, so I wanted to point them out. If I look at the side here, we've got USB showing a USB flash drive, which can't connect to this. We can't put USB media on here, even though it says USB disk on the back. It just doesn't have that functionality. As well as the voice controls, that doesn't seem to do anything. It's showing charge directly connected into the screen. That again does not happen. You can't charge directly from the screen. It's not got that pass-through functionality. Also, if you look at the writing on the front, yeah, 9-inch touchscreen, great, Bluetooth, all that kind of stuff. But it says USB again. It's also saying that it's got a USB charger port. And I think technically you could say it does, but that's only on the power adapter. So I do want to point out that the box on this is misleading because the unit does not have those physical things on there. And also that the physical unit here doesn't have stuff like the Carpuride logo, which this one does. And I think the one on the box looks classier without it. So just bear in mind that you're going to have a different experience than what you get if you just picked up the box. Let your expectations come from this review rather than what they've stuck on here. So there we have it, guys. There is the Carpuride W905 at $229. What do I think of it at this price point? Quite frankly, mixed thoughts. Some stuff does really well, some stuff I'm not too keen on. So firstly, quality, good. The screen, excellent, nice and bright, it's crisp and very responsive, so that's super cool. As well as the physical on-off for the screen as well. That's great. Stuff I don't like though is the false advertising on the box, because that's a bit misleading and I do not condone that. But hopefully this review's cleared that up for some people. And then also I don't like the fact that the voice controls didn't seem to work, as well as, for me, no wired CarPlay. That seems to be a big omission at this point, because it's not just wired CarPlay, it's being able to stick USB media into there, as well as also being able to charge your device if you want to the USB port. So that's something I think at this price point they could have implemented. That being said, it's a solid unit. It's good quality. The wireless connection, that was very good. I did like the wireless connection. Not once did I turn the car on and my phone did not connect to it. So that was great. That's something I find the cheaper CarPlay units I have doesn't quite do as well as the screen not being responsive on the cheaper one I have. So that's where you are seeing a bit better quality with this particular unit. So I'm not going to say it's not worth $230. It's just that you've got to be aware of its flaws if you're going to buy it for that price. If you can live with the flaws I've said, if you're only using wireless CarPlay, if the physical height of the screen doesn't necessarily affect the way you're driving your car, if it's something like my Volvo, you can get away with it. If those things are okay for you, then I'd say definitely consider the unit because the quality is good. Otherwise, I think there might be other products out there, even within Carpuride's own range, which may suit your needs better. Either way, there's a link in the description below if you want to check it out. But until then, I just want to say thank you all for watching. I'm going to get to some more car-related content soon in terms of just cleaning stuff up and fixing stuff. The weather's not been great lately, so that's why I've not been doing much of that stuff. But if you want to see that video, you know what to do. Just hang around and I will release one of them soon. So until then, I just want to wish everyone a happy new year. I hope you had a great Christmas as well. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. So thanks for watching and see you soon.